Hey guys, CBI Prinsu today, and today we're going to be showing you how to mount the brand new clamp-on non-drill ladder for the new Toyota Landcruiser 250. Let's get to it. Alrighty guys, so before we get started, let's do a quick little overview, a little double check and make sure that we have everything before we get started. In your kit, what's going to be included, you're going to have 2 ladder side rails, you're going to have 5 ladder rungs, you're going to have 1 little rectangular clamp plate, your bottom clamp bracket, your bottom cap bracket, top cap bracket, your hook bracket. You're gonna have 3 of these small rectangular VHB pieces, these adhesive pieces, and you're gonna have your top cap adhesive piece and your hardware kit. As for your tools, you're gonna want a 1/2 inch wrench, a 9/16 wrench, 7/16 wrench, a 3/16 Allen, and a 5/32 Allen. And that's all the stuff you're gonna need to get started on this. Alrighty guys, so to tackle this, let's start with the first step. Let's start off with assembling our ladder side rails to our rungs. You're gonna need your 5 rungs, your 2 side rails. And what we're gonna need for the main pieces of hardware here as we get this open, you're gonna see in your kit, you're gonna have a lot of these 1 inch long 1/4 carriage bolts. You're gonna see these 1/4 inch black washers and the 1/4 inch nylock nuts. That's what you're gonna need to assemble these rungs to the side rails. So let's get started with that. You're gonna take your side rail here. Usually it's easiest to orient it like this. Rung. You're going to take it, line it up with your holes. You're gonna send your carriage bolt through the top to the front. And then on the back side is where you're gonna wanna place your washer and your nylock. Don't go crazy with tightening these down all the way out of the gate, because you're gonna wanna be able to assemble all of your rungs more or less, kind of get the ladder straight, and then you're gonna wanna cinch everything down. So now that we've got the rung on that one side, we're going to need, same thing, carriage bolt, washer, and a nylock. I'm going to grab our other rail, line up the hole, and then just like that. Press your carriage bolt in, washer on the back, nut. Get it started. Okay. All right, guys, and then you're gonna wanna repeat this same process with the other 4 rungs that you have left. What we typically like to do is we like to skip holes. Why we gave you extra holes in the first place is that you can orient the ladder rungs however you want to. You can kind of customize it however you need. But for this situation, we're going to skip every other hole. And then we're gonna plug the rest of our holes with our little plugs that we've provided in your hardware kit. So. Alrighty guys, we've got all of our hardware started on our rungs to our side rails here. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our 7/16 wrench, we're gonna cinch everything down so it's tight. The one thing you're gonna wanna make sure you do is you don't cinch it so the ladder sits at an angle. You're gonna wanna make sure the ladder's square. So one thing you kinda can do is you can set the ladder up as much as you want, and then go to town tightening things down. You shouldn't have to hold it up like this for very long. As long as you get a couple started, get it pretty squared up, you should be good. Okay, now all of your rungs are all looking pretty square. They're all assembled to the ladder. Now we're gonna start on the top cap bracket. Alright guys, so for the next portion, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our ladder top cap and we're gonna cinch it down to the top half of our ladder. That's gonna be this side that has a little bit more sharper angle at the top. The one with obviously the little bit lesser angle is gonna be the bottom half, so don't get them mixed up. So what we're gonna do, you can see the corresponding holes here that match up to your bracket. You're gonna wanna set the ladder top cap over top of the side rails. You're going to want to align the holes. And then here in your hardware kit, you will see these black 5/16 by 1.5 inch long cap screws here. Same thing, you're gonna have a corresponding black nylock and a black washer. washer is going to go on the outside of the ladder, not on the inside. And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna get that in a good spot so you can see it. We're same thing, gonna align our holes. Screw first, nylock backside. Just like that, okay? Then we're gonna finish doing the rest of them. There's gonna be 4 on the ladder top cap. Oops, already made a mistake. Washer first. Okay, nylock on the inside. Okay. Flip it over, repeat. Okay, now that we've got those all started, you're gonna wanna grab your 1/2-inch wrench and you're gonna wanna grab your 3/16 Allen, and you're just gonna wanna cinch those down, get them tight. And now your ladder top cap is fully installed. Now we're gonna focus on the bottom cap bracket. Alrighty guys, now we're gonna assemble the bottom cap bracket to the bottom half of the ladder. Here's what it looks like, and it's essentially gonna be the exact same process as your ladder top cap. Even the hardware is the exact same. You're gonna be using these 1.5-inch long 5/16 screws, washer on the outside, nylock on the inside. So same thing, get one ready. Line up the holes like so. Okay, same thing, 3/16 Allen, 1/2-inch wrench, cinch them down. Alrighty guys, now your top cap and your bottom cap are fully assembled on the ladder. Let's move on. Alrighty guys, so the next step that we're gonna be focusing on this ladder install is you're gonna be focusing on this hook bracket. This bracket is gonna go over top of your spoiler and hook in between the top of the vehicle, the rear hatch of the vehicle, and the roof of the vehicle. However, we've already done an install video on this one before, so this one is actually currently mounted on the vehicle already. We're gonna snip over to that part really quick where it shows our other guy showing you how to install that real quick.
All right, I've laid a piece of painter's tape down as our guideline here. So all you're gonna do is grab your tape measure, hook it on the corner of the hatch, then measure over 7¼ inches. So I've got that piece of tape down already. All right, so with our guideline placed, we're just gonna get a little rubbing alcohol and clean the surface off here. That's just gonna help our pad adhere really well. All right, we've got our surface cleaned and prepped now. We're just gonna peel off the backing of our 3M tape. And we're gonna carefully line it up with the edge of our paint. And before we press down, we're just gonna drop in these carriage bolts. Now we've got everything lined up. Just gonna apply some pressure here. Make sure we've got it hooked well. And it is all set now.
Alrighty guys, as you can see, we already have the hook bracket installed on the vehicle. The spacing and stuff will be referenced in that other section that we're gonna insert into this video when it was previously installed. But just to reiterate, before we hook the rest of the ladder onto this, we're gonna wanna do a little bit of prep with those short 3/8 carriage bolts and this 1/2-inch long washer. You're gonna wanna take that. You're gonna notice these 2 slots on the back side. You're gonna wanna slip them up underneath. You can even lift up your bracket if you need to. Kind of just set them there. Because if you do not do this before you try to put the ladder on, you're gonna be trying to sneak it all the way up under the ladder top cap, and it's not worth it. Start by doing this. It's gonna save you a lot of hassle. So, okay, let's grab the rest of the ladder. Alrighty guys, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the rest of our ladder and we're gonna mate the top cap bracket to this hook bracket here. I grabbed this little piece of pipe insulation. I just have it right here because you're gonna want something Meanwhile, the ladder's hanging to protect it from the rest of your hatch because you don't want it to just swing and hit your vehicle, right? 9/16 wrench. Grab your ladder. Grab this. You can use a towel, t-shirt, blanket, whatever you have at home. Obviously, you might not have a piece of pipe insulation, but that is what we have here. Just like that. Okay. Just set down, same thing, 3/8 washer, 3/8 nylock. Washer on first on top of the carriage bolt, and then 3/8 nylock. Okay, push that other carriage bolt through. There it is. Washer, nylock. Okay, and then from here you've got a little bit of wiggle room with those slots to kind of adjust the ladder. We like to make sure that the ladder's pretty well centered on the brackets, so you can kind of slide it back and forth. It's looking like it's pretty well centered right there. I would not worry about cinching these down right now, because I would wait until we have the rest of the bottom brackets installed. That way you have some adjustment to play to get the ladder to sit just right. And then when we're done, we're gonna come back up, we're gonna cinch those down with that 9/16, okay? So let's move on to the bottom half now. All right, guys, so as you can tell, we've already got the top half of the ladder already bolted into that top hooking bracket. We've got it hanging on the rest of the vehicle. We've got the vehicle protected with the pipe insulation here. Now we're gonna focus on the bottom clamping part of it. We're gonna start here with this first kind of clamping bracket that we have. And before we kind of hook it onto the vehicle, onto the rest of the ladder, we gotta do a little bit of pre-assembly for it. In your kit, if you remember, you're gonna have 3 of these VHB rectangular pieces. And we're gonna need to put a couple of those on these inside faces of this bracket before we bolt it up to the rest of the ladder. So on this inside face here, kind of on this outer flange, and on the bottom face there, as you can tell. So just pull off the brown backer side of the VHB and just place it in there, give it a nice press, or give it a nice firm press, make sure it settles down there good. You're good to go. The other part that we're gonna have to do really quick is you're gonna wanna install these couple of cage nuts on the inside as well here on this inner face. That way, that will interface with our little clamping bracket that we install here in a second. So I've already got one installed here, as you can tell. They just have these really nice little wings that you just kind of compress, and they'll just kind of snap into those holes. So I'll set this down real quick, and then we'll just take our cage nut here. Might grab another little tool real quick. Okay, just pops in. Like I said, sometimes you need something kind of small, compress those wings, they snap in. There you go. So like I said, once you get those VHB pieces put in, now we're ready to attach it to the rest of the ladder. Okay guys, so unfortunately here our mic did kind of cut out, so we're gonna have to do a little bit of a voiceover, but as you can see, I've got the clamping bracket here ready to go. We already have the VHB pieces applied. What we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna fasten this bracket to that bottom cap bracket right now. So you're gonna wanna carefully slip it up in there, and you're gonna wanna press it on the inside of the ladder hatch just so that you're starting to adhere those VHB pieces. Like I said, be careful, make sure you do this right the first time, take it slow, because you're not gonna wanna mess this up or else you might have to do it again. We might have to get you some new VHB pieces. Make sure your surfaces are clean as well too. We're gonna grab our knife here. We're gonna peel off that red backing of that VHB real quick. And once we have that done, as you can see, it's all exposed here, ready to go. From here, we're gonna grab our 5/16 by 3/4 inch screws, and those are going to go into the bottom of the bottom cap bracket into those presserts that you can see on the top side of that bracket. So we're gonna take it, we're gonna slip it around over the top really quick, being extra sure that we're not accidentally adhering the VHB prematurely. And then from there, we're gonna start getting our fasteners started. We're gonna start threading them into those press certs. Okay, I'm gonna grab some tools real quick. Recommend doing these in by hand. Don't use power tools here because there is a chance you can accidentally knock out those press certs. Then as you can see here, I'm pushing that bracket to that inside part of that hatch, making sure it's applied well, making sure it's not gonna accidentally fall off here. Everything's looking good. And now we're gonna move on to our next part where we actually take our set screws and our mounting plate. So as you can see, there's our plate there. We've got the holes on the sides. As you can see, the holes are kind of offset to one side. You're gonna wanna make sure the holes are facing more downward. And here you can see we have our 1/4 set screws here. Those are gonna go through those cage nuts that you pressed into the bottom plate earlier, or in the bottom bracket earlier, and they're gonna press into that plate and actually push that into that outer side of that hatch. So we're gonna prep all that really quick. We're going to grab our knife again really fast, and we're going to peel off that red backing of that VHB. Make sure that's all good to go. All that's exposed, ready to go. Here, as you can see, like I said, once again, the holes are offset. You're gonna wanna make sure the holes are facing down right here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna slip it in between those cage nuts and that outer wall of that hatch right here. As you can see, just kind of sneak it on down in there. It's a little bit snug. Might be nice to have another person there to help you. And now you can see we have our cage nuts right there. You're gonna wanna make sure the holes on that plate are lining up well. We're gonna take our 1/4 set screws now, and we're gonna hit them with just a little bit of thread locker just to be sure that they're not gonna wanna back out on their own. Another key thing you're gonna wanna pay attention to is the shoulder that's on the top of these set screws. You're gonna wanna make sure that that shoulder is what's going through and actually indexing into those holes on that clamping plate. So we're gonna grab our 1/8 inch Allen right here. We're gonna start threading it into those cage nuts, as you can see. And you're gonna wanna start looking into the side here and making sure that those holes are actually lining up, that those set screws are indexing on those holes. Do both sides equally, make sure they're snug and tight. You don't have to go too crazy here, but as you can tell, it's on there pretty good. Ready to go there. And then from here, guys, you can start moving up to the top of the ladder, up to those 3/8 carriage bolts that we tightened in earlier. They're not tightened all the way yet, but now from here, you can adjust the ladder, you can slide it back and forth and make sure that everything's all squared up, nothing's weird. Grab your 9/16 wrench and you're gonna wanna cinch those down all the way once you have it set right where you want it. Just like that. And as you can see, it's good to go.